Hello, beautiful souls. My name is Jessie, and welcome back to another episode of Rewire To Inspire. The show where we'll dive into self-love, learn tangible ways to rewire the brain, and discovering your soul's purpose. The goal of Rewire To Inspire is to encourage listeners to begin doing the hard work, to get curious and open to maximizing your life. Our mindset shapes how we live. Depending on life events, traumas, and personal experiences, our mindsets are all vastly different. However, one thing we all have in common is the ability to rewire our mind, to change the narrative, and to pivot our lives. I hope you leave each episode with the belief that you are so worthy to live a life true to you. I look forward to chatting with you every single Tuesday and Thursday and helping you grow exponentially in all areas of your life. Without further ado, here's today's episode. Hello, you guys, and welcome back to my podcast, Rewire To Inspire. I am your host, Jessie Brown, and I am so excited to be jumping on the microphone with you all for episode number 132. Happy June. Oh my goodness, it has been such beautiful weather, yet somehow I have managed to get sick. So if I'm sounding a little Darth Vader vibes today, that is what's going on. Today is the first day that I am kind of on the mend from this sickness, but I definitely can hear in my own voice that I'm a little nasally. So super awesome that we're putting that into a podcast today. But nonetheless, you guys, my vibes are high. I am feeling so excited, and a little bit of a shift from Tuesday's episode. Tuesday's episode was all about me being honest, speaking from my heart, being very raw and organic of just how I'm feeling, how I'm doing, what's going on. And that episode was unscripted. It was me just coming on the microphone and sharing from my heart. So if you haven't checked out that episode, I definitely encourage you to. For today's episode, oh my gosh, I'm going to say something that nobody wants to say, but that is your circle a part of your sadness and depression? Wow, what a heavy question to ask ourselves. And also a very uncomfortable, icky conversation to have. And so kind of like I shared in Tuesday's episode, I want this platform and this podcast to be that safe space where I can dive into hard truths, realizations that none of us want to admit to ourselves, but we all, if we lowered our truth radar, would definitely all relate to each other. We all have these protector parts, right? And we're like always cautious of which parts of us do we allow other people to see, at what time. Do we show more around our family than we do around strangers? You know, if we're in a new relationship, how much of me do I want to share with them? If I met a new friend, it's a new chance to rewrite how I am as a person. And we're just always trying to gauge to make sure that the way we're showing up is an accommodation of everybody else, so that they fit us, so that they accept us, so that nobody judges us, so that we don't get hurt. It's so exhausting. It is so exhausting, you guys. I have been in some of the most toxic friendships and relationships. We've all been in them, but I can definitely be the first to admit that I have been the victim, for lack of better words, in very crappy friendships, tolerating so much unnecessary meanness and putting up with so much crap for so many years that I'm now so grateful that I'm at a place where I'm able to even identify that, of being able to look back and recognizing how much my circles were leaking into my depression, were leaking into my lack of self-worth, were leaking into how I was showing up as an individual. I want us all right now to assess how much the people in your circle and in your life have some tangible weight on how you show up and who you are every single day. We are all influenced by one another. I want you to ask yourself, is your circle something that is bleeding you or feeding you? And what I mean by that is, after you've spent time with those that you would consider to be in your circle, how do you feel? Do you feel fueled, aligned, inspired, excited? Or do you feel like, exhausted, overwhelmed, depleted, less than, I know I can relate to both of those depending on the people that I surround myself with. Thinking back to Jessie, the main times that there was obviously experiences as a young adult and in high school and middle school and all those things, but when I really think of this topic, I don't really so much think of school, like grade school. And the reason for that is because the people that were surrounding me was kind of all I had in a way. They were the only people that I could surround myself with unless I were to go do things outside of school. I begin to look at this when I had the conscious ability to choose the people I surround myself with, and yet still chose people that treated me like crap. This was around my first year of college, and for the years to follow after that. The people that I allowed myself to be around were just absolutely terrible in some ways. Even this topic is really, really hard to talk about because some people come into our lives to teach us a lesson. They are supposed to come into our life for a reason, to teach us something. They might only come into your life to serve as that singular purpose. However, if you're someone like me who struggles with self-worth, meaning you struggle with feeling worthy to have good people, worthy to have good friends, you're gonna be like a sponge in the way that as soon as somebody shows you attention, shows you kindness, shows you validation, you launch right on, you grab on, because your nervous system and your soul is just so badly craving that sense of connection. And it's almost like we get these blinders when we have low self-worth of not looking at all the red flags, not really reading into things as much as we should when we're able to take a step back and have that higher awareness. And now that I'm here 5-6 years later reflecting back, I'm like, oh no, I just was so desperate to find people that I was allowing anybody in my circle. Mind you, I had just moved to a new town, a new province. I didn't know anybody. And so I was just okay with it. And I am also somebody that tries to see the good in each and every person. My mind focuses on the good in people versus the bad. And I think that is a beautiful quality, but it is also very, very detrimental. Because I didn't realize how much the people that I was surrounding myself with were actually making me more depressed, more sad, more hurt. But because I just seen the good, I always allowed the pain to slip. I allowed the mistreatment to slide. It's okay, I forgive you. Oh, it's okay, I know it was a joke. Oh, don't worry, I didn't take it personally. How many of you guys can relate to that? Of just forgiving people over and over and over again and putting up with way more than you should have. Maybe this is you right now in your life. Maybe you are someone right now that isn't at that place of higher awareness and you are in that circle right now. This can really align for any of us, but the goal of today is for you to assess how your circle might be bleeding you or feeding you. Do they inspire you? Do they make you become a better version of yourself? Do they allow you to be you, your weird, natural, organic, beautiful self? Or do you feel like you have to put on a mask? Like you have to be somebody else? You have to do things and comply with them, or else that could mean that you're going to be alone. It's a very interesting duality to hold. What I've come to realize is that I would rather be alone and lonely than around people that make me feel lonely. I truly believe that once you've gone through enough adversity, should you also heal and work on self-love, you almost get to a place where you're just like, you know what? I'm done. Enough's enough. Not everybody gets my time. Not everybody gets my energy. And we need to protect that. We need to learn that it's okay to protect that. You don't have to have 5 million Facebook friends and 10 people that you see on a regular basis to be a valued human being. You do not have to prove yourself to anybody. If you are surrounding yourself with people for that pure sense of feeling like you need to prove something, my friend, I hope that this gives you the permission to know that you're not deserving of that. You're deserving to feel like a light when you walk in a room. Like people are grateful to see you. Like people want to see you win. And as I've told myself and continue to tell myself every day, I'm sorry that you were never shown that. I'm sorry that you were never shown the contrast. I'm sorry nobody has ever cheered you on while you are there cheering them on. I'm sorry that you have been lied to and you have spoken nothing but the truth. It sucks. And until we admit that it sucks and it hurts and it's painful, I don't think we can make a change. Today's episode is your circle a part of your depression? We might not realize the correlation of how much our circle impacts us. It does, and it does significantly. Just this week, I have been going through the ringer, as I shared on Tuesday. I have been feeling hurt. My mental health has been honestly hot garbage. I am crying more than I ever have. I'm breaking down. I'm sick, which to me, I only get sick when I'm burnt out. And I'm like, okay. And I reached out to my team. And I shared how I was feeling. And each and every one of them took the time to validate, to answer, to message me, to see how I'm doing. And a part of my heart was like, is this real? These people do care? They actually care? Interesting. Now that I've had that contrast of how good people can be and how that supportive people do exist, I refuse to put up with anything less than that anymore. Me, 2 years ago, even a couple months ago, honestly, would have never reached out for support because I had just been shown time and time and time and time again that nobody cares. People do. The people I surrounded myself with didn't. And so my brain had formed the belief that good people and friends do not exist. They do exist, you guys. But you have to be willing to get honest with yourself of if the people currently in your life are delivering that. And it's going to be different depending on your goals, depending on your lifestyle, depending on your self-worth, your self-belief, where you're at in life. Our circles are going to look different and they're going to serve different purposes. But for those of you that are heart-driven, that are goal-driven, that are self-improvement oriented, those of us that have that mindset are typically often very empathetic. And therefore, it can be really hard for us to stand our ground, to stick up for ourselves, to know our worth, to stay in alignment with that. And so I want to be here to be able to inspire you to know that your circle might be bleeding you more than you realize. But I would so much rather you be alone than be around people that make you feel lonely. I want you to know that if you're reflecting and you're like, yeah, my group is not really the best, but I'm not really sure what to do about it. There's a couple options. The first thing that you can do is you can speak your truth. Speaking your truth is something that I'm learning to realize is a superpower. Knowing that I do not have to apologize for speaking my truth should I do it in a way that is loving, caring, and what's best for myself. I've shared this before, something my coach shared with me. What if what's best for you is what's best for everybody else? What if you're feeling that way for a reason because a part of your higher self is communicating with you that you are deserving of more? What if you are feeling that way because a part of you knows that you're not deserving of that? What if you're feeling that way because a part of you knows that that chapter is ready to close? These are hard questions that we have to contemplate. I didn't have this awareness when I was in that cycle because I didn't have anybody to tell me or guide me or give me the permission that it can get better, but that I am the one that is in control of making those decisions to either step away or to stay. If you choose to stay, you also have to know that you're choosing the way in which you're treated. You're choosing to stay in a place that doesn't value you. And you have to know that in some way, shape, or form, that is gonna affect you. And until we know that and we admit that to ourselves, we will stay in that same toxic cycle. And we will keep reiterating that belief over and over and over and over again. Until, honestly, what happens is we get to a breaking point where we lash out and then friendships end up burning to the ground versus speaking your truth of how you're feeling, waiting to see how people will respond, and then navigating from there. I want you to know that you also don't owe anybody anything. You are allowed to walk away with integrity in a respectful way. You do not have to stay in a place that you feel undervalued just because you feel bad for the other person. I have also done that. My last relationship, I know that I stayed in it way too long. Not because I wasn't ready to step away, but because I didn't want to hurt anybody. Guess who ended up getting hurt? Me. I so wish that I could go back in time and tell myself, you do not have to stay in this relationship. You have the permission to do what's best for you. Again, a lot of the reasons why we stay in friendships that don't value us is because we don't think we're worthy of more. We don't think we can attract more. But the hard, honest truth that I never admitted to myself is, as long as you're staying in that space, you are actually reiterating to your brain that that's all you think you deserve. What we think is what we become. What we become is what we attract. And so if we are not choosing consciously to become more, we will not attract more. And so you cannot expect more if you're staying in a place that makes you feel less. I truly hope you're taking time right now to assess the people in your life. I have spent time literally writing down the names of every single person that takes up my energy in the span of a month, because it can look different. And I go through and I rate, what am I investing into this relationship versus what I'm getting out holistically? If I notice that most of them are bleeders, meaning that I'm investing more in than I'm getting out, I know that I need to dial that back. Are there times, yes, that we need to invest more? For sure. But asking yourself if it is serving your higher good, if it is striving you towards greatness. It can be really uncomfortable to have these conversations. I remember one time I stepped away from a friend group and I was the one that was lashed out at. I'm so selfish. How could I do that? I know there was an insane amount of talking behind my back. But that just reiterated to me why it was I was stepping away in the first place. But when I was in the heat of that, oh my gosh, it hurt so bad. It hurt so bad. And all I wanted to do was apologizing for choosing what's best for me. We gotta stop doing that, you guys. We gotta stop apologizing for knowing what's best for us, doing what's best for us, and sticking that energetic ground. What happens is we don't hold our ground, we comply, and we end up reverting back to the people that are hurting us instead of deciding to just admit to self that they are not serving us anymore, choosing you. I want you to have the permission to know that you can choose you and that doesn't make you selfish. If anything, that makes you selfless. Knowing and choosing what's best for you is a very hard and rare thing to do. But again, we can only attract in which we are. If you are choosing to stay in places that make you feel small, make you feel less than, make you feel less significant, you will likely feel more depressed because you're out of alignment. You will likely feel more sad because you're not fulfilled. Is your circle a part of your depression? A powerful, powerful question to ask yourself. An overwhelming question to ask yourself, but a truthful one. Knowing that at any time we have the ability to pivot, to change, to attract. I know that I could not have attracted NLU, Next Level University, and the amazing team that I have there if I had not stepped away from friendships that were bleeding my life, that were causing my depression to spiral. I know that I would not have attracted that if I didn't step away. The only reason that I feel adequate enough to be able to come on here and share this with you all is because I have had the courage, even in times I didn't think that I did, to step away from unaligned friendships. It is hard. It is uncomfortable. It is icky. You are probably going to feel like crap for the first little while until it settles in and you recognize the contrast of like, oh, thank God I stepped away from that. I feel so much better. If there's a friendship or a person in your life that you feel like your life would just feel better if they were out of it, don't apologize for that. Own that. That is a part of your higher self communicating with you that that's not for you. It might have been, but it's not anymore. We evolve, you guys. We grow, we elevate. We can't expect those around us to elevate and grow with us at each and every step. People are supposed to ebb and flow out of our life. We're not supposed to have the same people in our life. I live in a very small town, the same town that I grew up in. And because I went to Alberta and came back, I was able to see the contrast. And I can still see friend groups that are still together, that are still friends, that should not be. And again, that is not my business. That is nothing to do with me, so it is out of my control. I gotta let that go. But I can see from a far distance now when it is time for people to go their separate ways. We hold on because of old parts of us that are reminiscing, or because we don't have anything to fill that void. Well, if I get rid of this friend, what am I going to do? I won't have anybody. You will find people. You will find people. Don't think that what your circle is what it has to be forever. If you have those amazing people in your life that maybe you just need to take a step back from, maybe it's not completely cutting ties, but investing less time. Again, how much are you investing in versus getting out? Maybe if you're investing in 8 and only getting out a 6, maybe it's time that you instead invest a 6 or a 5 so that it's the same return on investment. It doesn't always mean we have to like, you're out of my life. It could just be drawing back our energy and time into those relationships. So you guys, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I hope you're sitting there in contemplation mode, reflecting on your circle, and also knowing that our circle plays a vital role in our life, in how we show up, and who we are. Are the people feeding you? Are they bleeding you? Are they making you more depressed? Or are they aligning you and striving you towards the person that you were always meant to be and that you are? Thank you guys so much as always for tuning into today's episode of Rewire to Inspire. If you guys enjoyed today's episode, it would mean the absolute world to me if you could rate this show below, hit the plus sign, follow this show. I release new content every single Tuesday and Thursday, and I would love to have you join me on this journey. We are just getting started, so thank you guys all so much. All the love. I look forward to chatting with you all next week. Bye, you guys. Thank you all so much for tuning into today's episode of Rewire to Inspire. I absolutely love connecting with you all, so make sure you're following me on Instagram. I am at Jessie Brown 13. If you enjoyed today's episode, please feel free to leave a review or share with someone you think would enjoy. I look forward to chatting with you all next episode. And remember, get out of your head and into your heart.